Welcome back to the Mansfield Matters podcast, the show for the fans, by the fans. Hopefully that we're not coming through like Daleks anymore. No idea what happened. Why is it that as soon the one time that we decide to do it all in the room together, we have technical problems. Never have this when we're virtual, although, Alan is always like 2 weeks behind. But it's funny. I don't know what happens. But welcome back. Get your comments coming in. Hopefully you can hear us okay. I've got the phone, but I can't put it in my ear because it's about 20 seconds behind. So it's very confusing to listen to yourself and then listen to yourself talking. So hello me in 20 seconds time. Anyway, Alan, let's go back to where we were. What were we talking about? I think we were talking about Clough's contract. I think Crosby must be outside somewhere with a signal scrambler.
I would definitely give Nigel another contract, without a doubt. Because he did it at Burton. He's done it at various other places where he's done reasonably well at other places. He certainly lived up to the dream at Burton. And I don't see any reason, in my opinion, why he can't do the same here.
Right, you're coming through now, loud and clear. Nick, talk to me about shirts.
Talk to you about shirts. What, in 20 seconds time?
20 seconds time.
If I was to follow on from Alan, I think I do want him to stay, because I genuinely don't. I think he's one of those managers. You give him 5 years and he'll get you to where you need to get to, no doubt. And I'm not really bothered how we get there, to be honest. But I just wish he'd be a little bit less stubborn, a bit more open. Someone definitely told him in January that you need to play a little bit more attacking, and we would have lost that 5 at the back malarkey. But I just wish he'd just be a little bit more adventurous, because we don't need to fear anyone in this league, and it's very often we set up to nullify, to like almost not get beat. Whereas actually, when you look at the players we've got, we're good enough to beat anyone in this league. And I've not seen anyone apart from maybe Salford who I've gone, wow, they're good. Every team we've played, I've thought we could have beat them. So yeah, I would keep him. I just think just get him out of his shell a bit more exciting. Get right. Clive off his seat.
Yeah, well, let's see if Clive is still awake in his seat, and let's hear from him.
Yeah, shirts. I think the blue one's my favourite, I have to say. No, going back to Mr. Clough, I think, in defence of the lad, because I think he gets plenty of stick, and that's the price you pay for being in that position, I think, is that we are second highest goal scorers in this league without a striker. So everything's not wrong. But of course, we've shipped important goals. At times we could ill afford it.
But do stats like that win you promotion?
No.
But that's what he comes out with all the time. We're second highest goal scorers. We've had this amount of shots. We've had this amount. Stats don't get you anywhere.
Well, it's because he's nearly always on the defensive when he's being interviewed, and he doesn't like telling questions. We know the people that do most of the interviewing are warned away from anything too probing. And I think if I'm critical of him and the football club in general, is I don't think they communicate very well and very honestly with the fans. And I think that would be something I'd urge them to improve going forward. I don't think Clough should be changed. If he wants to sign another contract, I think we should do that. Who out there is any better than him? Anybody coming in is going to start again from scratch. I think there are the investment that Clough has used in the time he's been here isn't all wasted. We've got a core of a team which is certainly capable of winning this league. We need a few astute signings, new people, and to replace the Crocs in the summer. And that's going to be an interesting time. No excuses this year. It's unlikely we've got a Wembley visit to get in the way of doing the summer activity this year. And therefore, we should have a better opportunity to recruit, and we should have a better opportunity to pre-season, both of which we didn't do last year.
More on that this time next week in the end of season review. Alan, of course, the lovely public of Mansfield got their hands in the pockets recently and paid £99 a ticket to see you do your star turn on Monday at the awards night. Tell us all about it and how the evening went.
It was a very enjoyable evening, Craig. Thoroughly enjoyed doing it. Mark Stevenson asked me today if I was available. I certainly said yes, and it was a really good night. Elliot won most of the awards.
Now, did they put in a special ramp for him or anything? Or
no. All he did, he came onto the dance floor. Obviously where they just below the stage. But I said to all the people that were doing the awards for him, can you just kindly step down? But to be fair to Elliot, he said he could because he was just on one crutch on Monday night. He'd only got one crutch, and he says I can get up there.
He's fit for Monday. That's it.
I said,
that's him playing.
No, don't bother. And he got all the awards apart from two. There was the Directors Award, which was Elliot Hewitt and also Lucas Akins, and also the player of the season from John and Carolyn and Rima Faz restaurant, Faisal Chowdhury. They picked Stephen Quinn for the end one, and it was just a thoroughly enjoyable night.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, I do have questions like who carried all Hewitt's awards? Did he get like a special backpack to put them in?
No, he carried them back with
Was
him
there any point of
himself.
him sitting down? Because there's a good spiel. There's a good 5-10 minute spiel in there between each award. So
Yeah.
I can just picture it now. It's right. Right. So I'll pretend to be Elliot Hewitt. Right. Go and do Elliot Hewitt with Player of the Season. Go on.
And ladies and gentlemen, the Player of the Season award goes to Elliot Hewitt.
I'll be there in a minute, lads. I'll be there in a minute. I'm on my way.
It was quite short with that one crutch, let me tell you.
There were rumours.
I'll get my award. Right, I'm going back now. Right, wait till I sit down and then spiel.
I think you were very kind, Alan, to try and avoid going to keep jumping up and down on the stage.
Yeah,
I thought that was very
yeah.
good of you. Having said that, by all accounts, Carolyn was doing enough jumping up and down on the stage, wasn't she?
It was a good evening.
Weren't they going to
Totally
give the
enjoyed
awards
it.
Political
to
answer.
Christy Pym was going to carry Hewitt's awards, but he kept
dropped
dropping
it.
them.
Yeah. Punchlines there. We will have our Player of the Season award and stuff. No doubt all you lot will vote for Elliot Hewitt, but we'll have some other awards as well, which we're going to come up with right now. How's about that?
Wow.
On the spotness. That's what we like to do in this podcast. We like to keep it fresh. We like to keep it different and make things up as we go along. So what I'm going to ask you for, obviously what we usually do is we always have all of us on the panel, but it's only us four here tonight. So you're all going to nominate a player each, but you can't nominate the same as somebody else. Okay?
What's the categories?
We're going to come up with the categories as we go along. So we'll have Player of the Season, underrated Player of the Season, most improved player,
Okay, he's going to pick for that.
and young prospect. And prospect.
The goalkeeper you'd most likely to carry your firstborn child.
Is Adam Collin up for that vote? Owen Mason in there. So they're the ones that we'll go for. So we all make one nomination each, then we put it to the vote. We'll all take it in turn to pick first, so it's fair. Because otherwise we might go Player of the Season. We're all going to say Hewitt, aren't we? So
Announcer of the season.
I think
There'll be
we
two
should have that
choices,
one
Al.
as well.
You're up
So
for it.
let's go with
Podcast of the year.
podcast. We did the podcaster of the year last time.
Podder's choice.
Yeah. So we might do that again. Right, we're going to go Player of the Season first. Nick, I'm going to come to you first for your nomination, because I knew Alan and Clive are both going to jump in and say Hewitt. So I want to see whether Nick steals
we
it.
can't have Hewitt.
Or
If I'm not, I don't think we should have Hewitt.
actually, I'm in agreement. Actually, because he's
I-
won everything else.
So I'm going to go this. If this is a separate category, I've shot it in the foot already. I think the player that's made the biggest difference since he signed would be Kilgore.
Okay, so we're going to get Alfie.
And I think if he'd have been here all season and played the way he has since January, I think he'd have been player of the season, not Hewitt.
So
There's a hot take there for you.
Okay, I'm going to put in brackets Impact Player of the Season as well. So Player
Another
of the
award,
Season.
that. That's
or
a new
Impact.
award.
Yes, making it up. Alan, you're next.
It would be. Thank you very much for that. Impact Player of the Season. When he's played, Lucas Akins.
Okay.
So both of my choices have now gone.
Right.
We haven't got a lot to choose.
Go,
have we, to
go,
be fair.
go on, Clive. You can go next. Or do you want me to go next? Because I might steal your.
Oh,
you
Don't
go
steal
next.
another one.
We know who Craig's going to. You might as well write it now.
I've already wrote it, mate. I wrote
I'm gonna
Kieran
say
Wallace.
second
Can't have him
name
for
begins
every
with
award,
W.
you know.
I can, and I will.
He's got a friend called Gromit.
Yeah, Kieran Wallace was mine.
Well, my choice then, and it might seem a bit left field, but it's Anthony Hartigan.
Not central midfield, the left midfield.
I'm writing it down. Oh dear. And I'm just going to put in brackets.
I'm not sure he's taking it
Last-
seriously, Al.
Last year I went for Narty.
You did go for Narty. That, to be fair,
He could be getting promoted this year.
I know.
right. Do you know? Since you went last on this one, on that one, Clive, I'm going to let you go first on this one. Underrated player of the season. So a player who doesn't get as much recognition as he should. Stumped him.
This choice.
By the way, from now onwards, we can have Hewitt in the awards because this is not the main player.
My player also satisfied another category of being the young up and coming player, and it's James Perch.
I'll go last on this one. Nick, you go.
Underrated. I don't know if he is now underrated, but I think Akins gets the most stick for the amount of actually he contributes.
Did in the first half of the
Yeah, maybe not so much in the second half, but I'm still going to go. There's still a lot of people who sit around me who will not accept him doing anything right, even though he quite clearly, time after time, is the only one running around, the only one throwing his body in front of things. So I would go Akins.
Okay, Alan.
Will Swan.
Yeah, that would be my second
Shout
choice.
out, actually, yeah.
I don't think people realise how good he is, do they?
Mm.
He's been lethal. I know he missed a couple of chances at Harrogate, but
if you've got a 1-on-1, I would put him, the top
100%.
of the category at the Stags at this present time.
You see, had we got a category got sick note of the year, he'd have been my call for that.
Well, we are going to have that.
Well, your mate
that
Artigan.
category at the end. Right. So we've had player of the season. We've had underrated player. You don't need to know who I've written down, do you?
Yes.
No.
Gromit's friend again.
Kieran Wallace. I can't.
I'm expecting him to walk through the door in a minute.
Kieran, come on in, son.
That's next season.
Next season, Kieran Wallace Mansfield Matter sponsorship. Anyone? Yeah, we're in for that. Yeah.
The Kieran
Absolutely.
Wallace Award.
I mean, it can't be any worse than the last player we sponsored, can it? When we sponsored Nicky Jose.
No.
No. No, you were. Anyway, young prospect of the season. Alan, I'll let you go first on this one. Mic to the lips, please.
Young prospect, I would say Riley Harbottle.
Okay, Nick.
I'm going to go James Gale. I thought he was horrific when he'd last played before this recent patch. I thought he came on, he looked a bit lackluster, a bit like he wasn't bothered, and then he's just transformed. I think he's been. I'd play him most weeks the way he's been playing recently. He's been fantastic. Real impact. Looks really strong. Looks like he's built for the men's game. A lot of young guys come through and you think, oh, he's never going to make it. But he just looks like he's buckled down and really worked hard. And he needs to feature a lot more next season. So Gale.
Clive.
There are no more young players.
You can't go Perch again. Perch is too old for this.
Yeah, how many times did he figure?
He's gone out on loan, but it's still a
Don't
good
necessarily have to
season.
featured. It could be someone that you think.
Abdullah then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And I'll go for the one you've all.
No, he's not young. No, you're not going. You're going to go Law, aren't you?
Kieran Wallace's age.
Eddie Bayo, I can fend with. Get him in there somewhere.
I'm not going to go for Kieran Wallace, obviously.
I'm going to go Law.
I was going to go Law, but I'm sensing that I probably shouldn't now. I'm going to go because he has been around for like 6 years, hasn't he? So, I think Anderson, the young right back that we've had, I think he's got a potential good future ahead of him as well.
Yeah.
Right, last one is sick note of the year, aka the player who's the best injured player. Clive, you've got many nominations for this. I'll let you choose first.
At the risk of making him big-headed, I'm going to go for Hartigan again.
Clean sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan, injured player of the year. This is an irrelevant award, which is just
through
time.
no fault of his own. I'll give it Macca.
Yeah.
You stole mine.
Oh, go on then, Nick. You're next.
I'm going to say the players whose injury actually, I think, affected us one of the most.
Who's thought about this?
Even though he's now played and he's not been injured since, but he made a massive difference when he was injured, was Ollie Clark.
Yeah.
I think we really missed him when he was out.
Can anybody remember that player, John Joe, somebody or other?
Yeah.
Tool.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Toole.
Guess who's just snuck in on my
I don't
list?
think he was. No, I don't think he was injured though. Clough just didn't play him. He was always on the bench. I don't think he was injured. He is now.
There's a little bit of thing around that because he was injured.
There was something wrong with his toe, weren't
there? Yeah, he wasn't playing, and there was something wrong with his toe. Then he got like half a game, and then Clough went, "Oh, he's injured." After he didn't get sold in January, which was a bit suspicious.
Yeah, I don't think he was injured all the time.
Yeah, so he's got on mine. There's the 4 awards. We'll also add in Podcaster of the Year. And if Nathan gets any votes for that, because he's not turned up.
I think he should get all of them.
Shocking. We'll come back to that another time. But we'll put the awards on a form and we'll reveal the winners next week, just for a little bit of fun. No trophies or anything like that. Just for a laugh. Right. That's the funny side done. Serious business time now, chaps. And that is, of course, one question. Do you believe in miracles, Alan?
Yes.
Nick?
No.
Clive?
Absolutely not.
No, me neither. I would like to. I would love to be. I would love to be. I know an eternal optimist, but the pessimist in me just says this time around. I agree with what Clive said earlier. Considering all the permutations, we have done well to finish 8th, but that is where we will finish. I just don't see us having enough about us. And even if we do manage to fluke it on Monday, I don't see Wembley on the horizon this year. So sorry, Alan, that song, a second album for Alan Wilson's Wembley songs ain't happening. I just
That's
don't see
all right. I can cope with that.
Do you think though, if we were Bradford and they were us, I think miracles would have happened and we probably would have dropped out. But when it's the other way around, I'm not feeling quite so confident.
I think we've made a big mistake all through this season in not bringing our own referees. Other teams seem to have gotten on to that one.
I
don't quite think that's going to make a difference, Clive, to be fair. But
is that where we're going wrong, Clive? Is that?
I think so. I mean,
I never knew that there was a rule that you had to bring your own referee. I didn't know we needed to sign one.
Well,
What's
There might be some out of contract. There might be some out of contract in the summer we can speak to.
On the phone.
I have to say that referees get a bad stick because of the things that fans believe they do badly, but they're their own worst enemies. They have the tools to deal with blatant time wasting. They choose not to do it. They have the tools to reprimand goalkeepers who kick from outside their box. They tend to ignore it. There's more foul throws than you can shake a stick at. And yet, they'll pick up on the niggliest little farty positional thing. And that's what they do without VAR, thank God.
But the standards, Paul. I mean, I used to referee to a reasonable standard, but they sometimes I do remember, and I know a few still referee in the Football League, and sometimes I do forget that. And I know this isn't an excuse because some of them are genuinely terrible. Like on a night game, a lot of them have been at work all day, which is very different
This
to.
is true. I used to work
It's
with
very
the
different to the football. And I know it makes no difference, but they finish work at like 4, get in the car and go to the game.
Yeah.
And it is very different to the players. And
I agree.
But they do make some horrific decisions. And I don't know how you've. And I think it's the pettiness that annoys the fans. Like Clive said, the goalkeeper, just book him the first time and he will not do it again. If he does, he gets sent off.
Yeah.
Time wasting with subs. You've seen players on yellow cards just amble across. Well, if you'd sent him off so the sub don't come on, they wouldn't do it again. But they don't, do they? Players who get injured this far from the pitch and roll back on, just book them. And if they don't get up, book them again.
Throw-ins taken from completely the wrong position to gain an advantage. Blow it, give it to the other side.
Well, they do when Stags do it.
Straight away.
Absolutely. Right, let's look at the permutations then, because you can believe in miracles, but the true matter of fact, is it's the maths which will matter in the end. First things first, we took a little bit of stick over the last 24 hours or so on social media about saying that we need X amount of goals when other people are saying it's just a win that we need. It's not, because final league position is determined in order by points obtained, goal difference, and then goals scored. If it's still level on goals scored, it's a mini league of the results between the 2 or more teams ranked using the previous 3 criteria. And finally, a series of 1 or more playoff matches. It won't come to that, but it could come down to goals scored, which gives us an advantage. But people are thinking that it's goals scored before goal difference. It's not goals scored before goal difference, because if it were, then we'd be a lot higher in the table. So we need to take that into consideration. So we have 3. Realistically, we have 2 teams that we're looking out for, but mathematically we have 3. Carlisle, if they lose and we win by X amount of goals, we will leapfrog Carlisle. Salford, if they lose and we win by X amount of goals, again, we'll leapfrog them. Likewise with Bradford. So the headlines are this. If, hypothetical situation, Bradford lose by 1 goal, that will put them on plus 17.
Who are they playing?
They are at
Orient.
home to Leyton Orient.
Well, Leyton Orient have gone on holiday, so they'll win this one, Bradford.
Well, we'll come to that in a second. If they lose by 1 goal, then Mansfield need to score 2 to go level on goal difference, and then the Stags will be in on goals scored because they've got significant goals scored against Bradford. Mansfield, of course, have scored 70 so far. Bradford have scored just 60. Andy Cook, incidentally, has got half of them, or just about half. Salford, if they lose by 1, takes them to
Who are
plus.
they playing?
They are at home to Gillingham, with our friends George Lapsley and Ollie
Yeah,
Hawkins.
Salford will win that.
In the 98th minute.
My name is Clive. They lose 1-0. Stags will need to win. Stags will need to win 3-0 ish. We'll come back to that because then it will come down to because they've scored more goals than us, it will come down to a mini league. So Stags will need to score a significant amount there. If Carlisle lose by 1-0, that puts them on plus 22. We need to win 7-0 to get in on
Who
goal.
was Carlisle
Rovers
playing?
did it.
Carlisle have got Sutton away. So
Well, Carlisle will lose.
You never know. You never know. But I've done some workings out. I've tried to do some workings out and looked at it in this way. Let's go with Bradford first because so if Bradford lose by 1 goal, Stags must win by 2 goals to go level on goal difference and therefore would be in the playoffs on goals scored.
That's our best bet.
100%.
100%. If Bradford lose by 2, therefore the Stags must win by 1 to go level on goal difference and get in on goals scored.
But we still have to win, whatever.
If the Stags want to go in on better goal difference, then obviously need to score 3 or 2, depending on how many Bradford concede. If Salford lose by 1 goal, the Stags must score. They must win by at least 3 to go above Salford on goals scored, because 3 goals would take them to 73, which is above Salford's 72. So
Unless they lose 4-2.
yeah, no, because it doesn't matter. That's goal difference.
Well, no, but if they lose by 2 and they lose 4-2, they'll have 74 goals. So
we've basically got to score 2 more goals than what Salford do. Very, very complicated, the math, isn't it?
And we'll be 2-0 down after 20 minutes, and we'll all go, well, that was pointless.
And if Bradford get a win, Salford sneak a point, but Carlisle lose, we could still do it. But Carlisle have got to lose by 7 if the Stags win 1-0. So, or vice versa. So,
put your bets on now.
Yeah, let's play in Bristol Rovers colours that day.
Exactly. You never know what might happen. So there's loads of different permutations, but realistically, Alan, it's Bradford that we're looking out for, isn't it? Because that, in terms of the gap of goals and the swing that it would take, Bradford lose by 1, all we need to do is score 2. Bradford lose by 2, all we need to do is win by 1. That's the most realistic proposition. And the fact they're playing Leyton Orient, who have had 3 or 4 days off, they won't be playing the first 11. Bradford would be rocked by that result in midweek as well.
I don't know about not playing the first 11.
They made significant
I think
changes
they
when
might.
I'm
going to say it, but yeah, but I think they might want to go out all singing and all dancing.
Is this at Bradford? It is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
They'll want to turn up at Bradford.
I think so. And I mean, to be fair, 99% of Stags fans wouldn't have thought that Crewe would have beat Bradford last night.
No, I was just going to say
But
that.
they
You wouldn't have said that, would you?
Strange things happen in football.
Not when he got brought back to 2-2.
There'd be some poetic justice if Bradford failed, I have to say, because I've developed a very healthy hatred of the club with manager Mark Hughes at the helm, and ball boys and their leading goal scorer, and the fact that it's Bradford big bollocks, isn't it? So I think it'd be poetic justice in my book. But all this presupposes Mansfield is going to beat a team which isn't playing bad at the moment.
Now they're up there with current form, aren't they? Although, how did they get on last match? I wasn't sure how they did last match.
I can't remember.
I know they're up there, with the reasonable. They're doing well up in the form table. I don't know that. But
as I said earlier, we'll be well supported down there. It's a day out. It's the last. It's a bit like the day before your holidays. Everybody's going down there to have a good time. And quite honestly, we should be as relaxed as we can possibly be, because if we don't go up, well, generally speaking, we've not done enough to deserve it. If we do, we've had a bit of luck for the first time this season. I mean, when I say go into the playoffs, I don't have huge expectation if we do sneak into the playoffs, because I don't think, by and large, of the teams that will be in there, we're the best equipped.
Well, I think theoretically it'd probably be the Carlisle or Stockport, wouldn't it?
It's Stockport, I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll go up, I do. I think they'll go up automatically.
It'll be Northampton again then.
I think they'll beat Northampton. They'll be above Northampton.
Yeah.
Colchester lost to Doncaster on Saturday.
Oh, of all the teams to lose,
1-0.
Yeah.
Well, it was away, but
season as well, haven't
I
they?
think we
There
just
you
got. If
go.
we make a good start and we score in the first 10 minutes, which very rarely happens, that crowd at Valley Parade, I think, will get twitchy.
It's exactly what Chris has just said in the comments. I think
They will get twitchy without a doubt. 16,000 fans get
everyone's-
twitchy very quickly.
So
Yeah.
everybody will have the phones on,
course they
the
will.
radios and whatever, and it'll generate straight away, the
course they will.
scores round. won't
Especially
it?
for the teams like Salford and Carlisle. Other teams start winning and Bradford aren't, or any of those three teams, really. We saw last season what happened with Bristol Rovers. Momentum at Bristol Rovers just spurred them on and on and on. They didn't dream of scoring 7 when the game started. It just went, the crowd sucked the ball in 7 times, didn't it? And that nervousness spread to Northampton at Barrow, and they just couldn't score any more goals.
Well,
And then they conceded as well. And that's
Yeah, they
what
did, and that
ultimately
made it even
cost them.
worse, yeah.
Let's remind ourselves who Bristol Rovers were playing in that game.
Scunthorpe under 10.
Yeah, but-
Scunthorpe,
Yeah.
who had already been relegated,
Yeah, but the
were
thing
the
is,
worst
Clive,
team in Christendom.
You can only beat what's in front of you, can't you? Simple as that.
Quick start. That's all we need.
And other teams to lose.
No, it doesn't matter. What about them?
It sort of does.
We're clutching at straws, aren't we? But that's what you do with Stags fans, don't you?
In an ideal world, we'll get this 3-goal. We'll win. We'll get a 3-goal turn on Bradford. They'll disappear back into League Two for next year. We will then play. I think you're right. I think it'll be Northampton rather than Stockport. So it's a repeat of last year.
Northampton. Rather than, I thought them 3 were clear.
No, Stockport can still overtake them. I think they
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Northampton are in the 6-team mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Sky
They're gonna
Sports
get
certainly
promoted-
think they
they're
will.
going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a,
Yeah.
it's a 2-team shootout for third place. Stevenage just
They're in now.
Who did
Yeah.
Northampton play?
Northampton. I think they've got Tranmere.
Right.
I think.
Sky seem to think it'll happen because they've got Stockport on the telly as well
Yeah.
as Northampton. I've got a feeling Stockport might do it.
Anyway, if it is that, then we play Northampton again. And we didn't expect to get much out of Northampton last playoffs, and we took them to town.
It's always good playing the team that finishes in 4th because they've got that annoyance of
Yeah.
dropping out on the final day, and it's going to happen again
Again.
this season. But so it's interesting. But of course, we won't necessarily finish 7th either because we could finish anywhere up to 5th depending on.
Will you shut up?
It's true fact.
We're going to finish 8th, Craig,
We could.
aren't we? Let's
I mean,
be honest.
we are.
I know we're very optimistic here.
But
That's
I'm
what
just-
Alan is, but I
Obviously,
think we're going
it
to
goes
finish
down
8th.
to goal. The final league position goes down, as we've said, to goal difference and then goals scored. Other than Salford, we're the second highest scorers in the league. So if we are all tied on, 75 points, if ideal world all 3 of them teams lose, we'll sneak in on goals scored. And
You know
get
how you
higher.
said. You know how you said before about it's goals scored or goal difference, whatever, whichever. And if that's the same, it's how they've played each other.
Yes.
Then we
Well,
struggle.
we're
struggle
struggling.
with
Yeah,
against Sal-
exactly.
We're struggling against Salford, don't we?
Well, that's
Salford and Bradford.
that's the
They
thing
did
that
well
are-
against Carlisle. Stockport somewhere in the middle.
Stockport's,
I don't think there's a
Stockport's
situation-
irrelevant. We can't catch Stockport.
But we couldn't possibly be level on goals with Bradford because we're already 10 ahead. There's no situation where they could lose and
Yeah.
catch up 10 goals on us.
Yeah.
So if we're level on goal difference with them, we will.
Will
Go
you,
above them
will
without
you
them.
stop being so practical?
Yeah. Listen.
It's all about the maths. Have you not read the title of the
Doing
episode?
my head.
Exactly, Nick. Exactly.
Does Cookie take the penalties for Bradford?
I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever happens. It's all right saying that support the lads and what will be because that is exactly true. But also, we're not in the position where it is just on us. We need to do our job fundamentally, and then hope that others will do us a favour. You get no favours in football, but there could be one final twist in the tail because we were all cursing the transfer movement in January when we sold George Lapsley and Ollie Hawkins, the 2 shirts which Nick has brought along with him tonight from his vast collection. Picture the scene. Mansfield have done their job. We are winning 3-0 away at Colchester.
Just like that.
It's 0-0 between Salford and Gillingham. It's the 90th minute. It's a corner for Gillingham. George Lapsley places the ball on the corner arc, so right forward out swinging, whips it into the box, and rising up at the back post is Ollie Hawkins to nod it wide.
Very plausible.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to go for Pez, but I thought, I'm just going to rug pull it at the last minute.
Because the Mansfield way is that we will actually do a good job on Monday and we'll score 3-0. We'll win 3-0. But none of the others will play the game.
Yeah, nobody else will play along. Nobody will join
nobody
our
will lose
master
for it.
plan.
I don't think. I think you're right though, Clive. I don't think 8th is a bad season, and I think we
No.
just regroup. We go again, buy some pace in the team somewhere. We haven't got a lot of players out of contract, so it's not going to be a vastly different side next year. It's just going to be the same team.
Well, the trouble is some of the contracted players are unlikely to be fit. So
we've massively got to recruit,
I
100%.
think we need to buy about 7 or 8 players.
But I don't think finishing 8th is the end of the world.
And if anything's been proven this year is that running a small squad doesn't work with the way that Clough wants his players to perform.
No.
He wants them to give 100%, which is fair enough. He wants them to be flexible and play in any position on the park, which is a Clough way. And that if it works well, it works well. But we've seen so many occasions players who are playing in the wrong positions making mistakes because they're not in the most comfortable part of the park for their own skill sets. And I think we have to recruit into positions better than we've done before. But we've got all summer to do it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I would imagine that if he is given a new contract, he'll also be given a reasonable budget. And we need to just be a little bit better than we are this year.
I do think historically, the season that we finished just outside the playoffs, the following season we do well. When we got promoted in 2001, the season before we finished just outside the playoffs. When we got to the MK Dons game, the season before, under Flitcroft, we finished just outside the playoffs.
Yeah.
So might not be the worst idea.
No,
we'll always be in the top 6, 7, 8 teams in this league. I think it's
Shame
just
only 4
you
go
just
up,
need
innit?
to be at the top. You just need to be at that top end, don't we? We just need that little bit extra. But
Let's have another January window in the pre-season.
Where we'll see what happens.
January transfer window was remarkable this year.
We recruited 4 really good players, I thought, in January. It's just a shame 2 of them were immediately cropped.
Absolutely. We will discuss that in more depth. Let's be honest, this time next week in the end of season review when it is all over.
Yes.
If it's not all over, we'll obviously talk about it when it is over in a couple of weeks' time. For those interested, by the way, in the old playoff dates, just in case you need to earmark it in your calendars, just in case miracles do happen and maths saves us, Saturday the 13th, 7:45 kickoff will be 4th place against 7th. Or Sunday the 14th, 7 p.m. kickoff for 5th versus 6th. And then the second legs both take place on the same day, which will be the 20th. 4th versus 5th will be a 12:30 kickoff, and then 5th versus 6th is at 3 p.m. And if you're even more optimistic and you think we can get to Wembley again, Sunday the 28th, 1:30.
Yeah.
Get booking a holiday out.
Yeah. So book your
Don't
holiday.
worry about it.
Book your holidays,
Get it
place your
booked.
bets, do what you want to do. Speaking of placing your bets, it's not just League Two where it is tight. The podcast predictions table is tight as well, and it is hotting up for the final day of the season because we are doing triple points.
It's just a way to get me off the top. That's all this is.
You never
Is this
know.
a coup?
You never know what might happen. Clive, you are currently top of the table on 57 points. Alan, you are in second on 48. So it could happen. You never know what might happen.
Is it going to come down to goals scored?
Come down for
Is it goal difference?
points predicted, something like that. So this time around, it's 3 points if you get the outcome correct rather than 1. 3 points if you get the score correct rather than 1. 9 points if you get the outcome and score correct. And of course, if you get the first goal time on the money as well, it's double points. So you could get a maximum of 18 points if you get it on the nail. So
You've got to be on the button, Ali.
You've got to
You've
be on the
got to be on the button now.
But we're adding, we are adding one final twist into the tail as well.
That's
okay.
The Craig twist.
Yes, the Quaid twist.
Craig.
And that is predicting whether or not we will finish in the playoffs. It's a yes or no answer. If you get it correct, your points from Monday's game will also be doubled. So technically,
36.
you get 36 points.
I think I could win with that.
Exactly. So you never know. Cam's prediction earlier was a 3-0 win, which of course would get us in the playoffs, presuming the others lost. First goal on the 12th minute, and he says we will get in the playoffs. Nick, say you started this late, you've done well, and you've got 21 points on the board so far.
And
so
I
quick
forget.
maths, if you get it all right, if you get the 18 points, and then you get the playoffs right, and you get your 36, quick maths, 21 plus...
I need Clive and Alan to forget to submit anything.
So you could technically still win.
Well, that's a bit of... I feel like everyone's going to go optimistic, so I've got to go the opposite card, haven't I? I've got to go pessimistic.
Go
I'm
on.
going to go for a 2-1 Stags win.
Which wouldn't be enough.
Wouldn't be enough. 46th minute, straight after half time, and we're not going to get in the playoffs.
Okay, Alan, you are in second place, so you get to go next.
2-0 win for the Stags.
90th minute.
18th minute, first goal. And yes.
Okay.
Alan.
Clive, you are the leader of the pack. Your place at the top is hanging by a thread if Nick gets his prediction spot on.
Can I just say at this point, I'm not at all worried about it.
Famous last words, Clive.
And
Clip that out.
as long as I go for the same win that Alan does, he can't.
Oh, you come on. Where's the podcast predictions rule book?
It's nothing to do with me. It's all Ben.
I'm going to go for a 3-1 win and 18th minute. No, you had 18. 19th minute.
Okay.
And no.
Okay, he's gone for no. Okay, right. I think that we will win, but I think I'm also going to go no. I'm going to start backwards. I'm going to say no. I think we will win. I think we will win 4-1. We're going to score in the second minute.
Who is this person?
But
Take your mask off.
but
What are you doing with Craig?
despite
Can the real Craig come in the door?
despite our victory, despite us doing all we can, our misdemeanors throughout the season will come back to bite us on the arse, and Ollie Hawkins will fail to score for Gillingham, and Salford will nick a draw.
And Andy Cook will score for Bradford.
Yeah, and
With his arse.
and let's be
With
honest,
his arse.
Carlisle will go. This is revenge for stuffing us on a Tuesday night. We've already scored X amount. We're just going to see it out. So.
I do often think back to how happy I was at half time in that game.
Yeah.
34 minutes.
Hey, imagine if we'd have scored 2 more, would have been in the fucking. Anyway, let's not go. Let's not go there, shall we? If you want to get involved with podcast predictions, the link that you need is in the description. You must do it no later than 1 hour and 1 minute before kickoff on Monday, which is 12:30.
It'll all come down to Alfie Kilgore's
Correct.
own goal.
Well,
And, the man's is a disgrace.
from hero to zero, the typical Mansfield way. I tell you what would have been funny on Saturday, by the way, and that is quite simply Radford on the pitch before the game. John Radford at 10 to 3. Get behind Nigel Clough, give him your back in, then we lose. And then at 10 to 5 going, sacked. That would have been typical Mansfield.
I thought he was going to go full Delia Smith, asking where we were.
I know, where are you?
Let's be having you.
I
God,
thought
you
that the
imagine.
weather immediately after the game on Saturday
Summed up the mood.
Summed up everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had this lap of appreciation by which time nearly everybody had left.
I'd left.
It was literally, I'd gone, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad stays for everything, he'd gone.
Yeah. See you later.
He'd gone, Al.
I felt a bit
No,
sorry.
I
I
was
felt a bit
still
sorry
there.
for the players
I
that
got
had to come out
drenched.
to nobody.
It's COVID season again, is it, lads?
So,
I got drenched.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I'd have stayed in Clapped if Alan had done a lap of appreciation.
Absolutely right. Campaign starts right now for Alan Wilson gets a lap
Carrying
of
the dog round.
appreciation. Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Right, that is all we've got time for tonight. Thanks so much for coming along. Before we do go, we've not seen Nick for a long time. Obviously, he's not got his full shirt collection with him, but I know you've been working hard behind the scenes to secure some new shirts and some unique shirts. What have you been up to whilst you've been trying to renovate your garage to get back on the podcast?
I've got far too. To be fair, I've gone a bit mad since Christmas. I've got to, but I haven't put any on because I'm a bit OCD for backdrops. I need white paint, and we've moved into a 1950s house that has wallpaper everywhere, so I can't take any pictures. Hence why I've not put anything on.
You need to get yourself a little pop one of them
Screen.
I know,
screen
I do need
boxes.
to. I know, I do need
12
to.
quid off Amazon. You're spending like $4,000 on a shirt, and then you can get this thing off Amazon for like 12 quid.
Well, that's not in the budget though, is it? It's not made of polyester. It doesn't count. If I was to go for me top 3 very quickly, because I know people get bored of hearing about shirts all the time. If anyone remembers the picture of Ian Bowling with the streaker
Yeah.
at home, I have that shirt. I have that shirt, 95, 96 goalkeeper shirt. The last week I secured 2 more. One was Phil Kite's promotion-winning goalkeeper shirt from 91-92, which only he wore. And Andy Beasley was the other goalkeeper, and there was a third goalkeeper whose name escapes me. It was Andy Beasley, Phil Kite, somebody else. I know from Sheffield United. And the final one was Chrissy Greenacre's 27 shirt from 99-2000, which somebody got, who was stood near the tunnel. He threw it to him after the game. So that's probably the top 3 of ones I've had recently. But I need to get the room set up. It's technically a home office, but I think Abby has sort of realised it's going to be Mansfield Town Shirts HQ now, unfortunately. So yeah, we've it's, to be fair, there's been a lot. And hopefully when the new shirt comes out, I get some of them.
Well, we won't have a game next Saturday, mate. So we'll all be around and we'll get the paint out and we'll
get it done. Get Al round.
Absolutely.
Painting. Clyde for morale.
Yeah.
Slap it on parking.
And I'll turn around.
You can paint as well if you like.
I'll turn around and I'll play my role, which I've done all season. I'll be pessimistic by standing in the corner going, mate,
you missed a bit.
2 combs ain't going to cover that. You've missed a bit.
Can we get Kieran Wallace round just to give us a hand?
Where's Kieran Wallace when you need him? Right, that is all we've got time for tonight. Thanks, as always, to the Mansfield Matters podcast panel. Make sure you get involved via the link in the description. And remember this one true fact. Believe in miracles, and sometimes they do come true. But also, you need to believe in the maths. Can Mansfield Town do it? They can probably do it. But it's those around them that they'll be relying on too. You never know what can happen. Football is a crazy game. There's an easy way, a hard way, and a Mansfield Town way. And a God knows what's going to happen on Monday way.